Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn how to create an unsignalized intersection in VISSIM. You can see I have a T intersection. I already entered the volumes and let's see what would happen if we didn't have a control at our intersection. You can see cars from minor streets don't yield to any car and sometimes they go through each other. Now let's look at what options do we have to create the control at our unsignalized intersections. There are two ways. The first I'm going to introduce you is priority rules. If you look at the left options, we have an option named priority rules. I click on it, go to the network and right click on a place that I want cars to stop. You can see an orange line would appear and right click on the mainstream link, a green line will appear. When I right click on the mainstream, you can see a priority rule property window will open. On the left side, we have the properties of the minor street, the location of the orange line. We can have it on all lane if we have a multi-lane link, the location on the link, and the vehicle classes that we want to apply these rules on them. On the right side, we have the properties of the mainstream. Again, the lanes, the location of the green line, and vehicle classes are the same as left side. And on the right bottom, we have minimum gap time and clearance area. The minimum gap time is the gap time between cars in the main street that a car in the minor street would consider to enter the main street. And the clearance area is the area behind the green line that a car in the minor street would consider to be empty to enter the stream. For having a right capacity according the HCM method, we tried different minimum gaps, and there's a document that's in the course material. You can use the minimum gap time for every type of intersection and turning movements. Now I'm just going to use the default value. I click on OK. When I finished, I click on the screen and it's all done. This is good for a yield control intersections, but if you have a stop control intersection, VISSIM has an option named stop signs, but if you use this option, it will result in much less capacity than what HCM method says. So I'm going to use a reduced speed area behind the stop sign I created before. Its length good to be 5 feet. And according to the parameters of the car following model we calibrated for the VISSIM, it's good to have speed of 15 kilometers per hour for vehicles. I click on OK. Now it is ready to run. I just created 4 right turn movements. It might be no control it will be no control for left turns. Just let's see them. You see cars reduce their speed, yield to the mainstream, and right turn. The other way is using conflict areas. You can see above the priority rules on the left side, we have an option named conflict areas. And when I click on it, you can see the conflict areas will be active, and the default setup for them is being yellow. When I click each of conflict movements, you can see it will be highlighted, and by right click on it, the color of the movements will change. Uh, the meaning of the colors is like this. The green is the stream that has priority. The red is the stream that has to stop and yield to the mainstream. By right click, I can change their status, and then by right click for the second time, I can see both are red. Both are red is for branching movements, for the two movements that are going to go to separate directions. And when they are both yellow, it means that, it is passive, and the cars don't see each other. It's like the first simulation I showed you. They just go through each other. You can see when we have a busy intersection with all the movements, it's hard to click every conflict areas and change their status. The other way to changing the status is to right click on the conflict areas, click on show list. You can see the list of all conflict movements. Here on the column status, I can change the status here without right clicking on the network. Here I have two waits for one. Here we have a branching, so I put undetermined. And also I do the same for all the conflict movements. Now that all my conflict areas are defined, as I explained for you in the priority rules section, uh, if you use the default values in this table, it would result in much higher capacity than HCM method says. So we tried different values, and at the end we had three main parameters to change them and have the right capacity according to the HCM method. These parameters are front gap difference, the rear gap, and safety distance factor. The front gap is the for types merging conflicts and crossing conflicts. It's the minimum gap time in seconds between the rear end of a vehicle in the main traffic stream and the front end of a vehicle in the minor traffic stream. The rear gap is the minimum gap time in seconds between the rear end of a vehicle in the minor traffic stream and the front end of a vehicle in the main traffic stream. And also the safety distance factor is the factor that is multiplied with the normal desired safety distance of a vehicle in the main traffic stream in order to determine the minimum distance a vehicle of the yielding traffic stream must keep when it is completing in the conflict area, merging conflicts. The calibrated values for these parameters for different type of intersections and uh, different type of lanes are in the documents that is provided in the course materials. I'm just using the default values for this. And also the other thing that I'm going to say is that I use the reduced speed area with the length of 5 feet and the speed distribution of 15 kilometers per hour instead of using a stop signs for the stop control intersections. Now I can run the simulation. You can see the cars from Minor Street yield to the major street. These were two ways of creating a stop control or an unsignalized intersection in VISSIM.